What if every relationship challenge wasn't a problem to solve, but an invitation to love more deeply? Welcome to the conversations that help us become better partners, parents, friends, and humans, because every relationship is a chance to heal, grow, and belong. Welcome, everyone. I'm Laura DeFranco, the CEO of Brave Healer Productions Publishing, where we are helping the world experience what's possible. And here today to help me with that mission are a couple of the amazing authors of one of our newest books. This one, you guys, and I can't wait to share a little sneak peek, is Brave Families, the ultimate guide to long-lasting, loving relationships. Oh my gosh, quick shout out to Davide De Angelis for this beautiful cover art. We love collaborating with our artists on these beautiful book projects. And I have a couple of the authors here today, and I want to introduce them. Susan Ernst is an author and child protection advocate dedicated to helping children and teens stay safe, connected, and heard through education, storytelling, and advocacy. And Timothy Stutz is a spiritual enlightenment coach, storytelling and poetic wizard, and award-winning author of over 350 fairy tales of the heart and 100 songs, specializing in helping parents, children, and families experience more creative, happier, healthier, harmonious, soul-empowered lives and living their full potential. I had my coffee this morning, y'all. Like, I'm good. Okay. So Susan, AKA Mom. So everyone, world, welcome to my world where my mom is writing for our beautiful books. And I'm happy to introduce Susan, my mom, to you. Tell me a little bit of the why behind the chapter that you wrote.
Thank you. I'm delighted to be here. I'm excited about talking about my chapter. It was fun to write. I have to take you back a few years, back around 2014. I spent about 5 years moving up towards 2019 at a rescue center for children who had been rescued or were at risk of sex trafficking in Cambodia. At that time, the experience was profound, but what I found was not being able to speak their language, the power of play. Play gave them a chance to feel their feelings, perhaps reveal their feelings, and to heal. And so now, fast forward to today, I am retired. I've got buckets of time. I've devoted my writing to raising awareness to trafficking and the exploitation of children, but most importantly, ways to mitigate that, ways to change that story.
So I was talking to one of the authors in this amazing book the other day, and we were chatting on another topic. And he was telling me he had been reading our book, and he said, I read the chapter on play the other day, and you know what happened? I stopped what I was doing at my computer and I went and found my daughter. And like I responded to him like yes, like okay, that's what we're here for. Like this is the thing. This is life-changing, right? In all the small, medium, and big ways. So yeah, that play thing, especially with a language barrier. What else do you want to tell us about that?
Well, I think what's so interesting about play in general is its importance in the raising of children. If you think about it, children learn to play before they learn to speak, before they go to school. I thought back about, I was remembering when I was raising two of my kids, as a mom, that old game of peekaboo. Just a simple game of, covering our heads up with a blanket and then throwing it off and peekaboo. And we used to do that over and over again. And both of my daughters, they just love that game. And I later, or in preparation for the work I've been doing, I was talking to a psychologist and she explained that was one of the most powerful games a mom could play with their child, because it helps the child actually learns to see that their mom always comes back, that for a moment she's gone and then she comes back. So here we are doing this fun game, and somehow I'm at the same time instilling this sense of confidence in my child's heart. So now I'm off track and don't know where I should go from here. So back to you.
No, that's that's taking it deep. I remember a time, I think it was we were celebrating a 40th birthday, and we had our friends at the house, and the kids were small, and my son was probably 5, 6 in that stage, and it was a hot July. And we, with this big party of people, we broke out the water balloons and the super soakers and passed them out and ran around and were crazy. And it was funny. And I saw my son look up at me because I was playing too. And he's like, he looked at someone else and he's like, "That's my mom." I just like, okay, this is good. Like, we all need to play more. Mom, thanks for raising your hand and writing a chapter in this beautiful project, and just for everything that you're sharing and all the writing that you're doing. It's changing lives. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Timothy, let's hear a little bit about your why.
My why developed when I heard the subtitle of the book, The Ultimate Guide for Long-Lasting Loving Relationships. And long-lasting to me, my chapter is about long-lasting is forever. It goes beyond time and space. It's here and now. And we have brought in these relationships here and now from way back before we ever came here. And so my chapter is about tangible experiences of mine with my daughter related to that.
Which were fascinating to read, by the way. And I loved the way that you wrote about her. Okay, so for someone who just heard that and maybe doesn't even know that's a thing, like doesn't know how to hold the idea from beyond, like what would be the most important thing you want them to know in terms of like just opening their mind to possibilities there?
Well, when I was teaching energy classes, Reiki and Tai Chi and things like that, and meditation, one thing that I always like to ask my students was, where is your mind? It doesn't exist. A lot of people said their brain, okay? But our mind is invisible. And yet it governs so much of our life. And we use it. And we expand that to the soul. Our soul is invisible. So the parts of us that are really the most powerful are invisible. Everybody knows that. Everybody will pretty much say they have a soul and they have a mind. So they're invisible. They're beyond time and space. So that's how I help people wrap their minds around the fact that they've been here before.
Yes.
Their soul has traveled.
Yeah, and I think I don't know why, but you're making me think of deja vu. You're making me think of moments where, and it's deeper than a deja vu, because that could even just be in this lifetime. I'm thinking of something that, but many times I feel like I'm deja vuing about a dream, about some other world, about some other space that isn't in my lifetime that I can remember. And so that's, I don't know if you want to comment on that. No?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
I read a book one time I read a book one time which said you cannot even look at somebody walking across the street in front of your car, and if your eyes meet, you have had a connection before.
Mm.
Wow.
Oh, I like that.
And I've had experiences that actually taught me that with people. And that really expanded my mind to, oh my God, it's like everybody that I'm seeing, everybody that's even passing me in the day is part of me. and we are connected in some magical way that we don't even know about.
Yes. You feel it when you lock eyes with someone for sure. Mom, did you have a comment about something Timothy was saying?
I wanted to comment, I wanted to say where my mind went, Timothy, when you explained the theme of your story. I'm approaching my 80th year, and I write a lot about my own childhood a long time ago. And when I think of some of those happy memories, it brings me right there to my mom and dad. I can just almost touch them and feel them. They're so real. And so when you say relationships are forever, that's what I think about. They're always there, and they create relationships that went behind before mom and dad. It all led to this moment. And I find it all just fascinating how it's all somehow linked.
So, Timothy, I want to stick with you for a minute on this next question. For me, everything is about awareness, and you all are. I'll just say a thank you, a quick thank you to both of you and all of our authors. A huge shout out to Jean Voice Dart, our lead author, who's running this show. Timothy, you had a big part in getting the initial coals burning for this project as well. And just, I want to thank Jean for bringing this stellar group of people together, but you all poured your heart and souls into these chapters. You're delivering beautiful, powerful, profound stories, and then stepping up with strategies and tools and practices and practical exercises and experiences for our readers. Your master teachings. I mean, I get excited about some of this, all of it. And so I have this huge thank you to both of you for taking on that challenge and doing that so beautifully. And so getting into this next question, everything is about this awareness. Transformation, no matter what topic we're talking about, it requires other levels of awareness. With awareness, we get choices. So Timothy, when it comes to your family and relationships, what's been your practice of awareness? What does that looked like? And how has it helped you? Like thinking of maybe one example.
Uh-oh. For me, awareness now is really being so present with every breath and every person, every animal that I'm with in the moment, to really be there for them, clear of my own stuff. So not having the wheels in my mind turning and just being an open book for whoever's in front of me so that I can relate to them and understand what they're saying, what they're trying to communicate with their body, and then responding versus reacting. And sometimes that's a challenge for me, even after 45 years of doing awareness practices. Sometimes I get caught in the old patterns and I react instead of respond. So it's a matter of watching me too, and what's going on inside of me in relation to everybody else I'm with or the circumstances I'm with.
I love how you kicked this question off. I think that one thing is absolutely essential. And not everyone does that real well. Lots of us are in a practice of it, but even just being aware of what Timothy just said, if you guys could just be aware of what he just said in terms of your next interaction with whatever human walks into the room with you, that's a life-changing moment. Like this is, it's big potato stuff here. Okay.
And even
Yeah.
for me, it's even being aware of, like, I've got 6 wonderful kitties and they all have different personalities. So it's being aware of how each one wants to relate to me in the moment. And since they can't talk, it's really interesting trying to figure out, do they really want to be pet or are they wanting to play? And I even have a kitty that plays peekaboo. So
That's perfect. Yeah,
I
because
loved that, Susan.
this is with all creatures, um, not just other people, but our pets, our plants. We were talking about tomato plants earlier before we started the interview, and some of you have looked at some of the research on talking to your plants, right? There's this crazy research. One little petri dish was ignored, or was, we said bad things to that one, and the other one we loved, and like that one is, flourished. Like, oh my God, these are so good. Okay, so Mom, I'm going to come over to you with the same question. What's been your practice of awareness? What's that looked like? And especially an example that's kind of helped you on the journey.
That's such a big question. I have to go back to 2021 when I relocated from the West Coast to the East Coast after 30 years of a long distance relationship with you, Laura, and finding myself in a brand new land and having to come face to face with a really big adjustment. Leaving my home after so many years. And from 21 to today, I've been learning all about awareness, not only, awareness of what's around me, but as Timothy just said, really studying myself, figuring out where am I coming from? I've learned all about limiting beliefs and all of that, and realizing, oh my goodness, I have so many. And so awareness practices for myself have been just a wonderful, for me, it feels transformative. But what's funny to me with the question, the best answer right now for me is awareness is the name of the game when it comes to raising your children. Sitting and being present and being fully aware of them and what they're thinking and what they're doing. That's all they need from you. It's really just so simple to give them your full self. And so that's what I think about awareness.
Okay, so I'm going to give both of you a little chance to talk about the chapter at this point. And Mom, I'm going to stick with you for this one. What do you think is the most important thing you want us to know about the gift of play?
I want people to know that in a world where we hear a lot about adverse childhood experiences and perhaps the damage they may have done to your poor child's psyche, that is offset by protective childhood experiences. I've learned that new science is now paying attention to the fact that play is so powerful in mitigating some of the impacts of childhood experiences that were not so pleasant. And I know that we all have some, maybe not, but most of us do. Families aren't perfect, but they don't have to be perfect. And in that, just remembering play as a powerful tool.
Thank you. And again, just thanks for being in the project and for your contribution.
Thank you very much.
Timothy, what's the most important thing you want people to know about the fountains of youth, eternal truths?
That our children are our fountain of youth, and they carry eternal truths that we have forgotten. And it was my daughter, even before she was born, started reawakening the eternal truths that I had buried consciously inside of me as a 5-year-old. And that happened when we picked a name for her. And I looked up the meaning of the first name that we gave her, and it was melancholy darkness. It's like, oh my God. And I wasn't even on a spiritual path. And the first thing that came from inside of me is no child of mine is going to be called darkness without light following it. And so I picked a name, Dawn, for sunlight, for dawn, early morning, and for star, something bright. And I did pick dawn. I used star in the in the chapter because I didn't want to reveal my daughter's name because of the intimacy of some of the things that were shared in there. Um, but she was awakening me long before she was ever born. It's like there was that connection. And when she was born, when they separated her from her mom, this beautiful golden saffron orange light just swirled all around her and up out the ceiling of the hospital. And I'm sitting there saying, oh my God, something far more profound than the birth of my daughter's taking place. But I had no idea. And so my chapter goes into our relationship and how she continued and continues to this day to teach me on levels that most gurus don't even teach, like leading me down paths. I remember, I'll just share one quick story. We were in the car driving home from preschool, and I said, Melanie, you're beautiful. And she didn't say anything. Melanie, are you beautiful because mommy's beautiful? Nothing. Are you beautiful because daddy's beautiful? Nothing. Are you beautiful because mommy and daddy are both beautiful and you come from mommy and daddy? And she just looked at me and said, Daddy, all people are beautiful. It's like, okay.
Perfect.
So she was getting me to expand beyond our personal relationship, even to the wholeness back then.
Yeah, profound teachers, those little ones. I really enjoyed the way that you wrote that story. Really enjoyed learning about that part of your life.
I think we're here for we're here to provide the space for our children and everybody to blossom into the fullness they can be without putting parameters on them while keeping them safe.
Mm.
And as we talk about beyond time and space, the new ones that come in are coming in clearer and with more consciousness than we have. So if we can step back and say, yeah, we've learned to navigate planet Earth, and we can help them navigate planet Earth, they can help us navigate higher levels of consciousness when we tune in and realize they are our teacher as well as we are their teacher.
No doubt, 100%. I feel that way about both of my kids. Timothy and Susan, thank you so much for what you do in the world. Thank you for being here today to share it with everybody. You guys, this is way more than a book. This is a generous community. And they're ready. You know, if something resonated today, you got the goosebumps, you have a question, you need support, you want to check out our authors, just come down into the show notes. I have their links there. Please explore, go click on the links, connect with our authors. This incredibly generous community is there for you to carry on the conversation, right? We also hope that you would just pop over and grab your copy of the book today, and that link is below for you as well. Remember today, everyone, your words change the world when you're brave enough to share them. So it is time to be brave. See you next time, everyone.